Okay, what is up, everybody? I hope the day is finding you well. We're jumping right into chapter 11. I can't believe we're over 10 of these already, but let's get to it. It had been 2 days since Corey last set foot in the guard headquarters. When she finally did, she noticed that it was relatively quiet compared to the last few times she was there. There were hardly any crimes being reported on the ticker, and it was eerily quiet. As Corey took in her surroundings, she noticed Lucy walking toward her. Corey, hey! We were getting worried. Are you alright? Lucy greeted Corey with a big smile. She playfully touched Corey's forearm. You know, if you ever need to talk about anything, then I'm here for you, right? Hey, Lucy, don't worry. I just had a rough couple of days, Corey smiled back. I appreciate you looking out for me. While we're on that topic, Captain Fair told anyone who sees you first to tell you to report to his office immediately. Lucy looked around to make sure no one else was in distance of being able to hear her. Between you and me, he's definitely overreacting about you being MIA. I'll go see him now, Corey said with a nod. Lucy went her own way as Corey made her way to Captain Fair's office. She did her best to avoid contact with any other guard officers on the way to make sure no one else relayed the same message Lucy just did. She knocked on Captain Fair's office door. After a few moments, he opened the door. Ah, Detective Corey, to what do I owe the honor? I apologize for being gone for a few days. Let me in. Corey did not wait for Captain Fair to let her in willingly and entered the room. Close the door. Captain Fair closed the door slowly and folded his arms. I was furious you were missing with no communication, but now the way you're acting has me worried. What happened? Corey brought both of her hands up to her face as if the conversation they were about to have was already giving her a headache. I don't even know where to begin. The beginning works. How much can really happen in 2 days? Corey laughed. You would be surprised. So a few days ago, a friend of mine named Cindy met a man named Tor. Tor? Weird name, said Captain Fair. Corey isn't really a normal name, and they are blue elves, so I can't really judge. Corey leaned against a nearby file cabinet. Captain Fair just nodded in agreement. Tor was standing in front of Seva and looked a bit lost and confused. Cindy bumped into him while he was in this daze, and they began to talk. Turns out Tor couldn't remember anything before that moment when Cindy interacted with him. We've had similar reports over the years of people connected to Seva, added Captain Fair, though we haven't had any of those reports in years. Things don't really add up with Tor either. Cindy got in touch with me to help her investigate. Apparently, Tor didn't remember who he was or where he lived until Cindy helped him find his information in his wallet. I went to his house with Cindy to dig deeper, and Tor was living in a pretty expensive home for someone who had no clue what he was doing. Hardly any clues in his apartment as to what his job was, and his phone was wiped clean. Someone didn't want him remembering what he was doing. Captain Fair returned to his desk and sat down. If you're trying to cover something up and able to remove a person's memories, why would you also go through the trouble to make sure the person is well taken care of? I think you're right with both assumptions, just not right in thinking they're connected. My guess is that Tor knew something before the memory wipe. Whoever wanted him to stay quiet made sure he would live a good life with no worries. Corey took a seat across from Captain Fair. Then I think Tor started to have a change of heart about keeping things secret, and that's when they stepped in and erased his memories. His luxurious living afterward was just a small price to pay for the people pulling the strings. You think it's all connected to Seva? Seva's a different story entirely, and the main reason why I was gone for 2 days. Corey leaned her head back against the chair and took a long sigh. I thought to help Tor remember things that we should take him back to Seva, meaning the outside of Seva. It's where Cindy found him and the most likely to help him remember. What happened at Seva? Captain Fair leaned forward and put both arms on his desk. Well, there was a bit of an opening in the fence, and Tor is a big guy, so we went inside, said Corey. You went into Seva? That's restricted for all levels of guard officers. I know. Well, technically I was never told that, but I assumed it was the case. It just seemed like the only lead we had, so I had to follow it. Corey hesitated a moment to try to read Captain Fair's face, but he gave her nothing. He also said nothing, so she continued. Once inside, we found people living in there. That's impossible. The guard cleared that place out years ago. Captain Fair shook his head. We're talking long before I was even captain. You don't think it's possible they just told you that? The less people who know, the better, I imagine. Corey stood back up. Anyway, once we were in and we met these people, they started to give us a lot of information. There's literally a split in the earth dividing Seva into at least two parts. The first being the one we were on with these people unable to leave Seva because of the fence and suspicion from the guard, and the other half which could possibly have residents from the original Seva. What could make a split in the earth that big to keep people from crossing? A friend of ours, a blue elf gathering up a bunch of magical energy from the spheres he's stealing, said Corey. It was Mavis, even the people in Seva said so. They know him better than we do. Apparently he visits Seva often, evidently to steal whatever magic is still floating around there. Corey closed her eyes and tried her best not to relive the next topics she was going to discuss. The leader of this new group of 7 people was a man named Griswold. He runs what can only be described as a cult. They made us feel welcome and offered to help us sort things out. Then they drugged us and held us prisoner. That's why you were missing. Corey, I'm sorry, I didn't know. No way for you to know, it's fine. Apparently the Sevens could tell that Tor had some insane magical power inside of him, and they wanted to cipher it out of him. Then things got worse. Jagger showed up. The Walton Company's pretty boy? Asked Captain Fair. What was he doing there? The Walton Company is looking for Mavis too. I think. It was hard to follow everything he was saying. I was tied up to a chair, and his conversation with Griswold was a little out of my reach. Once things started to get a bit more heated, another blue elf showed up. Other than Mavis? Yeah. She was on our side and helped us escape, not before Raisha River and the gargoyles showed up to make the mess even bigger. That's a lot of Walton Company members showing up just to hunt down Mavis. Mr. Walton must really want him dead. Captain Fair grabbed a small notepad on his desk and began writing things down. After the Walton Company showed up, what happened? Sagi, that's the other blue elf, helped us get out of there, so I'm not really sure what the Waltons were planning. Outside of where they were keeping us, it was a complete massacre. Sagi told us the deaths were Mavis's doing, then helped us escape. Tor went with her. You let Tor leave with one of the blue elves? What if she played you and was working with Mavis and wanted his magical energy? I don't think that's the case. Cora rubbed her chin. At least, I hope not. She was hunting Mavis too. Apparently the blue elves didn't want their existence to be made public, and Mavis kind of ruined that. That's putting it lightly. Captain Fair wrote some more information down. Mavis killed a lot more people. The Waltons are involved. Even the blue elves don't like Mavis, and there are people still in Seva, which was withheld information for some reason. Not to mention people losing their memories. Corey sat back down. There's more, at least on a personal level for me. With the Waltons, you mean? Captain Fair was trying to avoid the subject. Nope, not them for once. Corey's eyes began to tear up. Cindy and my roommate Audra were with me. I shouldn't have brought them in with us. They almost died because of me. Corey, you were just trying to help them solve Tor's mysteries. You had no way of knowing there was that much danger still inside Seva. Captain Fair got up and moved to another chair right next to Corey. That wasn't your fault. There have been too many times in the last few weeks where I've felt powerless, Corey continued. When I was a freelance detective just crashing all of your cases, I always felt like I brought something to the table. I would show up, provide much needed information, and feel accomplished at the end of the day. Now I feel like I'm falling behind in all facets of this job. I'm not physically fit enough, not smart enough, not quick enough. You just haven't had the proper training yet, said Captain Fair. We'll get you to where you want to be. I want to begin training as soon as possible. I need to learn as much as I can. I'm happy you're enthusiastic about it, but I don't want you to push yourself too hard either. It's important that you absorb the knowledge you're receiving and not rush through it. I don't need to repeat what you just said about this being a different animal altogether. You experienced it firsthand. We're dealing with potentially life or death situations. Captain Fair returned to his desk and pulled off the piece of paper he was writing on. The next piece of paper, he began writing down information. I want you to go here. Corey took the piece of paper from Captain Fair. What's this? An address to a place in Fristol. Pretty far from us. Lands a bit more north, close to Meldgarden. We could teach you here at HQ, but it's going to be individual things and it's going to take a long time. Captain Fair leaned back in his chair and folded his arms. The person you meet here is going to teach you everything simultaneously. It's the fastest way to get the knowledge and training you need. The physical training and gun stuff? That too, for sure, but he'll teach you a lot more than that. Corey stood up and looked down at the paper for a moment before looking at Captain Fair. Who is this guy? What are you not telling me? Captain Fair stopped crossing his arms and began tapping the desk with his right index finger. The man hasn't stepped foot in here for a long time. His name is Martel Valentine. He was the last detective the guard hired before you. What's up, guys? I know I don't usually do things at the end of the video like this, but I just wanted to quickly promote an ebook that I released a couple of months ago that I never really got to talk about here on the YouTube channel. The book is called The Soldier's Crest Shadowed Lives, and it follows the origin story of a character from book 1 named Mira Stormwillow. This is the cover right here if you want to go check it out on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description down below. If you are enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel so that you'll get notified when I put up new ones. And that's about it. Thank you so much. Bye.